When it comes to a race, you can't always rely purely on speed to compete for a win in F1 24. Your race strategy plays a big part of your overall race and can, in some cases, have a big influence on where you finish. You could pull out a brilliant race strategy to make up a lot of positions in a race, but choosing a strategy which is right and customizing your strategy can be a little bit of a head scratcher. In this video, I'm going to look at what makes up a race strategy, how to choose the best strategy for every race, and how to manage and adjust your strategy on the fly during a race. Now, your race strategy really starts before a race with the race strategy screen. This is where you will choose your overall strategy for the upcoming race, and you can choose one of the presets that the game has decided or customize your own. You'll always be shown two race strategies ahead of a race in F1 24. The default one is the one resulting in the faster overall lap time, and then there's normally an alternative strategy which presents a different choice of pit stops and tyres, giving you the option to drive a different style of race. Now, the differences between the default and alternate is that the default one will normally always be the faster option. When we talk about the fastest strategy, I'm referring to the overall race time, which can be seen in each strategy box. This is the time that is estimated that it will take you to complete the entire race. Generally, the one with the lowest estimated race time will normally be the best option. However, there are so many other elements to consider when making this choice. The alternate strategy is there to kind of suggest more or less pit stops or different tyre choices during the race. When looking at this strategy screen, we can see various different numbers and graphs. Each of these elements represents something we can adjust. You've got the predicted weather conditions running across the top of the screen, and then under each strategy option, you'll see the number of pit stops alongside the lap that you plan to pit on. Next to these is the total race time that I just mentioned. Then you'll see this visual graph which shows your tyres along with the pit stops and the tyre degradation, as well as the estimated lap times. Finally, underneath all of this, you'll be able to adjust your fuel level. Now, one of the most important decisions that you can make that can dictate your whole race strategy is your tyre choice. You can choose your starting tyre and which tyres you wish to use for each other stint during the race. The graph visible for each strategy really helps make this decision for you. This graph shows you the decrease in tyre life along with the increase in lap times. The downward trending coloured block represents your overall tyre life, which reduces each lap. Inside these coloured blocks are dotted lines which increase, and this represents the estimated lap time during each stint. As you wear your tyres during a race, your lap times will increase. The rate of wear and lap time increase depend on several factors such as the tyre compound, with softer tyres wearing faster. You've also got to consider the style of track along with how hard you push your car, as these both affect your tyre life and lap times as well. So what are the difference between each tyre type and compound in F1 24? Well, you've got the soft tyre, which is normally always your fastest. You'll use this during the qualifying sessions as it can allow you to put in the fastest lap times. However, it will wear faster than other tyres, making it fairly temperamental. You've then got the medium tyre, which balances performance and durability. It isn't quite as fast as the soft, but not as slow as the hard tyre, and it will wear slower than the soft tyre and quicker than the hard. This is generally a pretty good race tyre as it allows for decent lap times whilst not wearing out too fast. The hard tyre is then the most durable, but it's also the slowest. At some tracks it can last almost an entire race distance, allowing for a really nice one-stop strategy. However, you often won't be quite as fast as other cars on a soft or medium tyre. You then have intermediate tyres, which is for light wet conditions, and the extreme full wet tyre, which is for the heaviest rain conditions. Choosing the best tyres for a race comes down to a few factors. You will often only want to pit once, maybe twice during a race, so choosing tyres that can last longer can be beneficial. Often the soft tyre will wear too fast to be a really good race tyre, as it can result in too many pit stops. Analysing the tyre life graph will really help you choose your tyres. While editing your strategy, you can easily switch tyres in and out to see how each one will affect your overall race time. And I'd recommend experimenting with switching in softer tyres to see if you can make them last or if they wear too heavily. Now, if you're new to F1, there is a rule which is in place for races, and you need to use at least 2 different tyre compounds during a dry race. This means you'll always need to use a combination of the 2 out of 3 tyres during a race, You can't, for example, just use medium tyres. You will need to use a medium and a hard, or a hard and a soft, to comply with this rule. Now, while your total race time is one of the key decision factors when choosing a race strategy, your starting position is another element to consider. Where you qualify can really make a big difference to which strategy you choose. If you're, for example, starting a race in pole position, you may wish to manage the pace at the front of the grid. Opting for a maybe slightly slower one-stop race strategy could allow you to manage the pace at the front and lower the number of pit stops, which can lead to a good race time. And if you qualify further back towards the rear of the grid, there are a few other options you could take. If you want to be aggressive, opting for softer tyres to start the race gives you the best chance of overtaking slower cars and making your way up the grid forwards. Alternatively, opting for a slower tyre and doing fewer pit stops during the race could allow you to play the patient game and run longer stints than other cars. This could then let you take advantage of any safety cars, which could significantly reduce your race time and allow you to jump up the grid. It's always worth considering the cars around you and where you qualified, considering your pace, when you come to deciding on your race strategy. Now, your choice of tyres for a race will dictate your pit stop strategy. Using softer tyres can result in having to pit 2 or 3 times, but quite often using harder, slower tyres and pitting fewer times can be a better strategy than a more aggressive one. During a pit stop, depending on the track, you'll often lose between 20 and 25 seconds, which means to justify making an additional pit stop, you need to be confident that you can gain that time back by using the softer tyre. For shorter distance races, a one-stop strategy is normally always best. If you opt for a 50% or 100% race distance, then maybe the multiple pit stop strategy can kind of come into their own a bit more. My recommendation would always be to try and pit as few number of times as possible during a race. The main reason I choose to pit twice instead of once would be if the hard tyre results in really slow lap times that just aren't competitive, or if the hard tyre won't last long enough to enable a good one-stop strategy. While your tyre choice is one of the most important decisions to make when choosing your strategy, you do also have control over your starting fuel load. Lower fuel loads can lead to faster lap times as your car will be lighter. However, higher fuel loads will let you make use of faster engine modes during a race. The best option of your fuel load depends heavily on your personal preference as well as the style of strategy you're opting for. If you're looking to run a conservative race from, say, the front of the grid and control the pace, you may get away with a lower fuel load. In this scenario, you may be able to use lower engine modes and control the pace at which the race is run, letting you save fuel during a race. If you do plan to be aggressive and attack the cars in front of you, or you're going to try and put in fast lap times using higher engine and ERS modes, you may then want to increase your fuel level. This will let you push your car more during a race and generally be more aggressive. Now, if you did participate in any practice or qualifying sessions, by the time the race comes, your car will be in Parc Ferme, and this basically restricts any car setup changes other than a few minor tweaks. Before a race though, you can adjust your front wing levels, your differential setup, your brake bias and your tyre pressures. However, you cannot adjust the rest of your car setup. A common approach which I quite like to take is to reduce your front wing angle between qualifying and a race. More front wing angle can result in a faster lap time, which is ideal for qualifying. Then lower it before the race will make your car faster in a straight line, which can be beneficial for overtaking and defending. While you're on track, you may want to adjust your brake bias from corner to corner, or adjust your on-throttle differential, maybe lowering it a little bit as well, just to make your car a little bit more stable and consistent during the race. So as you can see, when you choose and adjust your race strategy, you have a wide range of options to consider. Hopefully using the tips in this video will give you a little bit of an advantage when you choose that right strategy. There are some elements of your strategy which you can change during a race, as I mentioned, such as the exact lap you pit on, so it's always worth keeping tabs of your strategy as the race unfolds. Let me know if you guys have found this video helpful in the comments below, and if you have, consider hitting that like button as it will just really help the channel out. Also, consider subscribing as I'll be dropping daily F1 24 videos, and if you hit that alert bell you'll be notified whenever a new video drops. But for now guys, enjoy racing in F1 24 and I'll see you on track.